Hello everybody and welcome back to Off Key. I'm here with Shannon Brunet and my name is Allie Branjord. Today we're talking to Dugan McNeill and we're in the house of McNeill, accompanied by his two dogs, so if you hear any breathing in the background, don't be alarmed. Today's subject is about the band Chameleon that Dugan was a member of. It has... I said Chameleon. Today's subject is about the band Chameleon. Also, we're featuring a song by Laura Borgendale. The name of the song is Record, or Record if you're Shannon.
I put on Crosby, Stills, and Nash for one last time, one last song.
Hey you guys, and I'm here with my two lovable border collies.
So if you hear some heavy breathing, that is, it might be Allie, but it's probably the dogs.
Probably Shannon.
Yeah, it's not me.
It's not Dugan.
Much as I like these two guys and dream about them at night.
What is your fondest memory of touring with Chameleon?
Of touring with Chameleon?
Or just being with them.
Wow.
Period. Just Chameleon altogether. What is your fondest memory?
Well, that's a really tough one. I'll tell you, I think probably one of the coolest things was we were obviously a touring band like everybody. Back then you didn't have really label support or anything because we didn't have a label. It was not unlike now. We're all entrepreneurs and you build your following and you get your truck and you get your lights and you bring your staging and all that. And we got to the point where we were doing original material. I think our first album was coming out. Maybe it was our second one. And we booked the Guthrie Theater.
Nice.
For our album release party. And there was just being in that place, which was kind of in the round, setting up different, that's a really, really great memory.
How big is Guthrie?
I think the Guthrie was about maybe 1,400. So not huge, just regular, kind of a small place. And from there, I think the next intermediate step that we did was a place called the Carlton Celebrity Room, which was about maybe 3,000 people. So about 6 months later, we played that place. But
what was the lineup of Chameleon at the time? Like, who was in the band?
Well, I kind of the band had been around throughout the 70s. They originally came here from Joliet, Illinois, and I saw them play, and I went, "That there's the band for me." That's how we used to talk back then. A band I was in at the time fronted them, opened up for them. And I just kind of pulled out all the stops because back then there were no bass players jumping around like maniacs in this town.
Sure.
So we're talking, it's a long time ago. This was like late 70s.
Okay.
79 or something like that. And I remember their I heard this later on, but their soon-to-be fired violin frontman player said to Charlie, "Adams, you look at that guy now. That guy's a rock star. You guys got to stop moving like that guy there." That's how this guy talked. Adams. Hey, this guy was so cool. Being the front man, all the girls wanted to be with him. And he would go clubbing it when it was not gig time. He was so cool that he had a guy that came around with him. His name was Teddy. Teddy was an incredible dancer. And when the ladies would come up to this guy and say, "Would you like to dance?" He'd say, "Teddy, dance with the lady." And he'd send Teddy out on the dance floor. And Teddy would dance with the lady. Then he'd bring the lady back to him.
I'd be pissed if I was Teddy. I don't want to keep the girl.
The thing was, because Gary was such a rock star, Teddy got, he actually got dates out of the deal.
Oh.
Get residuals.
He got residuals. A couple guys left the band, and Charlie, who was the drummer, still a really good friend of mine, was kind of running the band, and he called me up and said, "Would you like to join our band?" And I was in some crappy C-level band. I was trying to work my way up,
Yeah.
And, as cagey as I was, I went, "Well, I'm in another band."
Yeah. Yeah. Make them work for it.
Yeah. So, but I joined the band, and I think our first gig was like 2 weeks later. So we had to.
Sure.
They had a whole Chicago leg of the tour booked, just their regular kind of thing where they're 3 weeks there, 7 weeks somewhere else, and or 5 weeks somewhere else. I had to learn all the material, and at that time they were kind of a prog rock band.
It's not it's not easy to just kind of pick up and
No,
go.
it was all Kansas and Jethro Tull and Emerson, Lake and Palmer and things like that. So it was really something. But it was stuff I had been listening to. Mm-hmm. I had to learn it. And they did a lot of things like, Shannon, you mentioned the Dream Theater Big Medley.
Yeah.
They were doing a lot of that kind of stuff back then.
Cool.
Where they would take songs from different artists and put them together into a medley. And that's basically their show.
Yeah.
So they were a cover band, but they weren't doing the typical cover band scenario. They had redefined it. And they were, at that point, I would say they were probably third biggest band in the Midwest.
Right.
Okay, so I really wanted that bad, you know. So I joined the band, went on the first tour with them. First show we got to, we realized that Gary, who had left the band, had actually talked to all of the club owners and said, you know what, I'm not in the band anymore.
Oh.
And we lost the entire tour.
Really?
Yeah. So by the time we got to Joliet, Illinois, which is where these guys were from, we had to try to book gigs. So we were like playing just the worst gigs. And it turned out the band had to start all over again because all the bar owners said,
You don't have that
guy anymore, because he was quite a front person.
That's kind of a lesson to those who are listening of think about your choices.
Yeah.
You know, like go into your choices knowing where you're going to come out of it.
But we knew we were going to be a better band because what I was going to bring to the table was original material.
Yeah.
They weren't doing original material, and I really fought hard to, we need to be an original band, and we need to be more visual than any other band around here because the players were awesome. We need to dumb down your cover material just a little bit, do it with our new original material and all that. And also, we took a lesson from the Cheap Trick playbook, who were, you know, friends of theirs.
Yeah.
Because they're from,
I would say from the same area.
The same area, you know. They're from Rockford. These guys are from Joliet. Mm-hmm. And by the Cheap Trick were just playing the clubs then, too. They had just gotten their first album deal, and so they were playing all the same clubs that we're playing, you know.
Yeah.
Along with the Chili Peppers.
People don't understand how old the Chili Peppers really are.
I mean, they go back before I was in this band.
Realize,
like the 70s, they're out touring like crazy.
What?
Yeah, they're so young.
I didn't even know that. And
they were big in like Milwaukee and that. I remember that. So anyway, so what we did was we went, you know, we need to focus so everybody knows who everybody in the band is. And so we just started gearing all our promo with our names on it, individual names. We each took on a persona. At that, I was crazy new wave guy.
Really?
Because I had come off of a punk thing, and you know, so it was like I kind of cleaned up my punk act and went more into a new wave thing, which was like the Cars and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
We had Charlie, who was like the drummer jock, and he was really the first guy to bring that jockey drummer image, you know, with shorts and all that kind of stuff. And I think a lot of people followed suit there. Mark was the English guy. And John, the guitar player, was the rock star guitar player.
I gotta ask, was Mark actually English?
No, but he came off like that.
He just looked dressed English.
Yes, that was his persona.
English.
He was the English guy. You know,
It would have been a ride if you walked around actually trying to off English accent.
and when you walk around the Hall of Shame here later on, you'll be able to see these pictures. Maybe I can get some for your little show that you can see the different personas. You know,
Yeah.
we started doing things like making Chameleon trading cards.
Cool.
And stuff like that, collectible, and we put collectible on collectible, 1 in a series, 2 in a series, give them away at gigs and that, and you know, one month it would be me, and to have my picture on it would show, you know, to be a little information on that, and that, you know, the next something be somebody else, then maybe be the group shot. We made a fan club.
Great promotion.
We started doing that kind of stuff. People join the fan club, they get special things, and they get 8x10s of everybody in the band individually and all that. So we really push this. There's 4 people in this band, and everybody's a star, and everybody has a moment in the show that is their moment, instead of just the front guy. That was our way of getting around one guy that everything was focused on.
Yeah.
And it worked. You know, it worked for us, you know.
It's cool to hear different promotional ideas that actually work and don't work, because the whole, like, there's some bands that would just think, like, I'm not going there. Like, it sounds almost too cheesy to do baseball cards. Fans like it. They dig that stuff.
That's really cool.
It's like they
do.
don't get it. Like, you know, step out there, do it, you know.
You know, and then from there, you know, you do things like we do Christmas cards and calendars and all that, and we really got into promotional the merchandising really early on. And back then, you know, because now we're in the early '80s, and it was still expensive to do merchandising because you had to come up with the money.
Yeah.
For all the T-shirts, so you could maybe only have one style of T-shirt. And Charlie, our drummer, took that upon himself. And we would change our merchandising like every tour. So a tour would take 8 weeks, and then we'd totally change the merchandising the next 8 weeks. We'd totally change the posters the next 8 weeks. So every time we went in somewhere,
it's all new stuff.
It would be all new stuff. Yeah. And people started collecting this stuff, and they started doing that. And then we found out that you could do things like Chameleon girls' underwear, for example.
Yeah.
And you could buy them for 50 cents a shot and some for $4.
I saw that on the internet when I was doing some research on Chameleon. For this. I saw like underwear and stuff. I thought that was really
Did you buy some?
No, I didn't.
We may have some around somewhere. They have the little logo on the backside.
Right, on the butt
That's really
cheeks.
all they were.
Yeah. It was funny though. I thought that was funny.
And we would try to do merchandise for all different levels of what people could afford.
Sure.
From things really inexpensive like that up to really nice jackets that were so and I have to thank Charlie for that, our drummer, because he was what you would call a biz mission. He was a businessman and a musician.
Mm-hmm.
Biz mission.
Yeah, he called it biz mission. Yeah. By the way, I got to give that to the violin player because he came up with that term. Adams, you know what you are? You're a biz mission. And he really talked like this. Hi, Gary. I know you're out there in California.
And that was our first chapter with Dugan McNeill. Tune in for the next chapter also with Dugan McNeill, where we talk even more about Chameleon. And now we're going to feature Laura Borgendale's song Record. You can find it on SoundCloud.
I love you doesn't seem enough to say to you in this moment. I wonder if you hear me before you finally go to sleep. Your hands are clammy in my hands, you grasp as though you know I'm here. I've put on Crosby, Stills and Nash for one last time, one last song. Why can't I say what I really feel? This is the moment to do it, and I wish you could too. I wanna move the needle back to the very first song. The music can't be over yet, we've never heard the other side. And I'd do anything to turn this record over. There's still so much I need to hear. I can't let go. There's a place in my life that can't be filled except by you. I don't know how life goes on. It seems wrong to live another day except with you. And am I living if I'm always numb? Seems like feelings not worth the pain. I wanna move the needle back to the very first song. The music can't be over yet, we never heard the other side. And I'd do anything, I'd do anything, and I'd do anything to turn this record over. There's still so much I need